All right, so that was what happened to Egypt and Ghana the last time they played in the AFCON. Ghana lost 2-1 to Cape Verde. Egypt drew 2-2 with Mozambique. Let's hear from Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton and Black Stars forward Jordan Ayew. Both of them have been speaking ahead of tonight's encounter at 8 p.m.
It's always so quick with 4 days. The preparation is always a mixture of recovery, because obviously the ones who played the majority of the game have to recover for match day +1 and match day +2. They have to recover, but it's also an opportunity for the players who didn't play so much or didn't play at all to train hard the following day. So it's always trying to get the balance and trying to get in as much of the tactical work as you are able to do. Okay, so our what we know we are up against a very good, experienced team that, of course, are used to doing very well in this competition. You know, our responsibilities are. And I know we speak about looking forward, but our responsibilities are to assess in our last game where we should have done better, the areas that we should have done better, and to make sure that we can improve going into the next game. Our level has to be higher. We are playing on paper, a very good side. A better team, so we know that our levels have got to be better. So just an update on Mohamed Kudus is, as most are aware, he joined camp later than anybody else because of an injury that he sustained in his last game for West Ham. We will continue to assess him. We have today and tomorrow morning to assess. He has trained the last few days, but we will assess him, as I say, today and tomorrow, and make a decision tomorrow. We changed personnel in the first game to a player that is a more offensive type player. But these are the requirements that we have regarding the players that are always available, and so it's two. One, it's picking a team with the strengths that we have and the players that are available, and then the second part is always the opposition and how we feel that is the best way to play against the opposition. So these are always decisions and planning that we make, and this is something that's always done with myself and my technical team over a period of time, and analysis of our last game and analysis of course, the opposition that we play. Well, firstly, I don't have the expression. I have an expression. Hopefully, this is a good omen that the Black Stars in this same position.
All right, so that was Black Stars head coach Chris Hughton. Let's hear from Black Stars forward Jordan Ayew, who had a few things to say in that press conference, or in the mandatory pre-match press conference ahead of tonight's game at 8 p.m.
We didn't concentrate for 90, 95, 98, 100 minutes, and that's what cost us the game. The most important thing for us is to come back, stay focused, be as a team, and show different qualities that we have, and be more aggressive in every department, and we'll be fine. I have total belief in the boys, the staff are working really hard, and I know that tomorrow will be a really good day for us and for Ghana, so I'm really confident. And yeah, well, obviously tomorrow is going to be a tough game. The boys were ready. We put ourselves our own selves in this situation, so we need to come out of it. And you never know in football. So tomorrow we are ready. We'll give our best. We'll fight. We'll represent Ghana as well as we can. Put in a better performance as a team, and hopefully tomorrow everyone will be happy. as a team, as players, we're ready for the challenge, and we have belief in ourselves that tomorrow we can have a good result, and we just need to keep on pushing hard. It's not easy, but we need to force the luck, and to force the luck, you need to work hard, you need to fight, and tomorrow we're ready to fight, we're ready to give everything, we're ready to give our blood on the pitch, and that's what we're going to do. Listen, that's the situation we're in now, we cannot change it, so the only thing we can do is to look forward, and to look forward is the game tomorrow, and tomorrow we're going to go on the pitch with determination, fight, good team spirit, and elevate our performance to give it a go, and we'll see what will happen after the game.
Black Stars forward, Jordan, are you speaking the guy? So it all comes down to this particular game involving Ghana and Egypt. Ghana for the right to stay alive in the competition. Egypt probably for the right to set themselves up to make it to the next stage of the competition. We've heard a lot from the players. Jordan says they've put themselves in a difficult situation. He says they need to keep pushing, they need to force the luck. We've heard from Chris Hughton, who's had a few things to say about the team being ready and all of that. There's still the issue of Mohamed Kudus, whether or not he starts. Just initial thoughts on this game, and then we can get into the specifics. The Black Stars are playing a game of their lives, really. They need to win to stay in the competition.
They put themselves here, so they actually need to be the same people who drag themselves out of it. For me, all the right things that need to be said have been said. They have been very diplomatic about the kind of things they say. They're saying the right things all the time since they lost the game. But the question lies, will there be right tactical transformation to give us the needed results? That is the only question that needs to be answered, because for me, I feel that we've got the quality as a team, or Ghana has the quality to beat Egypt. People may disagree, but later I would explain why. But Ghana has the quality to beat Egypt. Only if tactics change. If not, Ghana will be walloped. If tactics do not change, they can say all the right things that need to be said, avoid controversy around the team. They are trying to avoid controversy around the team. It's needed, but still, if the tactics is wrong, Ghana will get beat. It's very simple as that. They can say all the right things, but Ghana, if they get the tactics wrong, the starting lineup, when it goes wrong, and they switch off in the first half like they normally do in Hilton games, you want to use the first 45 minutes to gauge your opponent. You have video analysts to do that for you, please. This is 90 minutes business, from minute 1 to minute 90. It's got to be seriousness from that particular blast of the whistle. You don't need to go and experiment in the first half. So the starting lineup and the tactics and what you tell each specific player, is what's important, not what's being said. They are saying all the right things. We like their diplomacy.
I like that. It's a very, very important game. Let's start off with Chris Hughton. Senam talks about the right tactical decisions. Between Sunday and today, what do you think Chris Hughton should have worked on? What should change as the Black Stars head into tonight's game in terms of tactics or a game plan, whatever? What should Chris Hughton do tonight if he has to get that result he wants?
Well, for starters, he should try to get his team to cross the ball a little bit more.
Cross the ball a bit more?
Yeah, cross the ball a bit more. So against Cape Verde, we crossed the ball 12 times. The whole game, 12 times into the box, 12 times. For context, Egypt crossed the ball 44 times against Mozambique.
Wow.
Cameroon crossed the ball 36 times against Guinea. So what that tells me is that Nigeria crossed the ball 24 times against Equatorial Guinea. And
what if, for example, the Nigerians have got Osimhen?
Yes.
The Egyptians, I'm sure they have their own ways or their targets in there. But do the Black Stars have somebody they can cross the ball to?
Yes, they can cross the ball to. Iñaki Williams. So Iñaki Williams, I expect to start this game. And because of the presence of Iñaki Williams, I expect the Black Stars to cross the ball a bit more. And on top of that, I expect the crosses to be more than it was or they were against Cape Verde, because we have good crosses of the ball. We have traditional orthodox wingers in Joseph Paintel, in Osman Bukari, in Ernest Nyama, and in Antoine Semenyo to an extent. And so we need to see those kind of things happen in this game against Egypt. Number two, I would like to see Koenigsdorfer not being played in that creative hole behind the striker, because he is not that player. Koenigsdorfer this season for Hamburg in the Bundesliga 2 has played 18 games in all. 15 in the Bundesliga 2 and 3 in the German Cup. None of those games have you had Koenigsdorfer play behind the striker.
Okay. So where did he play?
He's played predominantly as a right winger, and on a couple of occasions as a left winger, and sparingly as a centre forward. He has never played as a creative midfielder or in that creative hole behind the striker all season long. So when you play him in that position, you're pretty much setting him up for failure. You're setting him up to fail. And on top of that, that position demands a lot of tactical discipline, knowing when to shuffle between the attack and defense. So constantly, you had Cape Verde always attacking our left side, where Gideon Mensah and Jordan Ayew were, because they constantly had overloads down that side. Koenigsdorfer was nowhere to be found. And you look at the goal they scored against Ghana, it came from that side, because there was that overload. Koenigsdorfer failed to move towards that side to match the numbers. And they passed their way through our defense and got Jiku to move all the way from his side, the right side of defense, to move to that side and try to shore up the numbers over there. By that time, the Cape Verde striker had already shaped up and delivered that hit. Yeah, honestly, I believe Richard Ofori did what he could. I don't blame Richard Ofori for that goal. I've seen your messages on X where you blame him. You have some reservations about what he could have done, what he should have done. I won't blame Richard Ofori. I think he did the best he could, because the ball took a bounce right before he made a save. And on top of that, you look at the position of Richard Ofori. He pushed the ball away from the point of action, because the point of action was quite central. He pushed it a bit wide. And the Cape Verde striker, if you watch the slow-mo, he had to adjust his body, and on top of that, take that shot with his left foot, with his weaker foot.
Well, I still maintain that Richard Ofori could have done far better, because I thought he punched the ball right into a zone. It doesn't matter which foot the player used.
Yes.
So far as the player has access to the ball,
Yeah.
I think it's a dangerous thing to do.
I think the player was just positioned right. I think he was in the right place at the right time.
Brilliant.
And for that, I won't blame the goalkeeper
which
for
goes
that.
on to say that I thought Richard Ofori, again, my point with him and looking at it again, even this entire technique across that sequence, standing, and then seeing the shot at the last minute and diving for it, was always going to put him in a disadvantage.
Yeah.
I thought if he had shuffled a bit more, launched properly, nice power step, you are in control of the situation. You are either grabbing that, or if it's too hot for you, you are palming it towards the throw line. You allow your team time to reset. So, like I said, those are my issues. Just wrap it up.
So for that, I would love to see someone who is a bit more in tune with the tactical aspects at a higher level play in that position. So I would want to see Jordan Ayew play behind the striker and have traditional wingers play either side of him, with Iñaki Williams leading the attack. And on top of that, the substitutions. I honestly believe Chris Hughton should work on his substitution, because he got it wrong against Cape Verde.
All right, when we come back from this short break, we'll still talk a lot more about the Black Stars. Very interesting times. They play later this evening against Egypt. We'll talk about the Stars, talk about the Egyptians, what they can do, and then we'll see what more to do on the show. This is still the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we have a lot more for you. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is the AFCON Daily Show on Citi TV, proudly sponsored by Bet Power. Bet Power is powering us to bring you this show. If you want the biggest odds, the best chances of winning, the biggest payouts, then you need to be very good friends with Bet Power. My guests are still here, Edmond Sedinam and Yao Ejay Minta of the Citi Sports Desk. Let's get to the Zoom once again. Let's speak to Citi Sports editor Benjamin Nketiah. He's in Abidjan in Cote d'Ivoire, experiencing the AFCON and witnessing everything happen live and in real time. Ben, good morning, and how are you doing?
Bonjour, Nathan. I'm good. How are you guys doing over there?
Well, yeah, we are here holding up, hoping that the Black Stars will give us a good result later today. You've been following the team. You've seen training. You've been to the pre-match press conferences, post-match press conference. Initial thoughts on what you heard from Chris Hughton and Jordan Ayew. For those who have not watched the video or listened to the audio or read any of our stories, what did you pick up from the pre-match press conference from Chris Hughton and Jordan Ayew?
Well, I can tell for a fact that after that opening defeat, they were reeling. The coaching staff, the players, and everybody involved, really. I can tell they've held multiple meetings because they know that embarrassment might be staring them in the face if they do not get an appropriate result in this game. And that was characterized by a question one Nigerian journalist asked Jordan about if this generation of Black Stars players would have failed Ghana if they failed to make it out of the group stage in back-to-back AFCONs. Jordan retorted very quickly. He wasn't happy at all with the question. He said, until we are out of the tournament, you cannot consider us a failure. So you should hold your thoughts with that. And that just gave me a sense of where their minds are. For he himself, Jordan is typically the calm guy, but even in his calm demeanor, you could tell that he had a little bit of an edge to him. He spoke about leaving it all on the pitch. He talked about leaving their blood on the pitch. That was very interesting for me. I was like, wait, are you going to war? Are you a gladiator? What's going on here? And so I was a little surprised by that particular statement. But basically it tells you that the lads know that the stakes are high. They know that Ghanaians expect a lot from them, purely based on how Ghana has performed in previous AFCONs and how we performed in this particular game. He said that they needed to up their levels, and also they needed to make sure that if the game was going to take 110 minutes, they were going to concentrate for 110 minutes. And so that's just what it is. They know that this is not just physical as far as football is concerned. It's not even just tactical, but it's mental as well. For Hughton himself, he says that they need to up their level. Ghana needs to up its intensity. And I've been saying in a lot of my interviews, the big teams know how to raise their intensity. They know how to calm the game down when it matters, and they know how to pass it around and manage the game when it matters. And so the Black Stars would be.
All right, we'll see if we can reconnect and get to Benjamin Nketiah once again. He's joining us from Abidjan. There were a few hitches with the line. Ben, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I think
Okay.
I had a little break in my line. Like I was saying, I was just finishing up there. I was just saying that, look, from Jordan's words, you can tell that the guys are willing to do battle. They want to concentrate for 110 minutes if that's what they have to do, because he spoke about the fact that they switched off mentally, and that cost them as a group. In the mixed zone, when he came by earlier, he spoke about inexperience with this team. But he also spoke about the fact that they needed to be there for each other as players and not point accusing fingers at each other on individual errors. You need to keep together if you are going to win a game like this. Egypt said this was a final for them. Jordan echoed the same sentiments that this is as big as it gets for them as a group and as a nation. And so today they are going to lay it all out there. Chris Hughton believes that Ghana's level needs to go up as a nation. Like I repeated earlier on, big teams know how to turn up the ante. They know how to dial it down, calm the game down, pass it around, and manage a game when it matters. I feel like the Black Stars will be tested in a lot of facets, tactically, mentally, physically. Everything will have to come to the fore, and everything will have to be A1 today if they are to get a credible result in this game.
Ben, you've been watching the team train. What's the word on Mohamed Kudus? Is he ready? Have you seen him train? How does he look?
Talking about seeing him train, I've seen him do drills. I've seen him do individual drills. I saw him do some drills with the main group as well, but nothing to indicate that he will play. I mean, if you know how hamstring injuries work, even a minor hamstring injury will typically require about 3 weeks to be okay. And if you look at the timelines, Kudus has spent just about 3 weeks or maybe a little over that since this injury hit. And so Chris Hughton did say it was a little touch and go. We'll have to wait just about until game time to know if Kudus would be in the lineup. My guess is that he will probably come off the bench to play some minutes because you don't want to put him in a game like this where the intensity is very high and then he ends up aggravating the injury. And so game time decision, we'll probably find out a couple of hours to the game itself. But I also think that this team have gone through a phase where they've had to plan without Mohamed Kudus. And so I think Hilton has a set of tactics where Kudus is in the mix, and then the set of tactics where Kudus isn't in the mix. And if you listen to Egyptian coach Rui Victoria, he echoes the same sentiments. He says that Kudus is a special player, but they will be prepared for him. And that they won't, even in their preparations for him, they will not center their entire game plan around Kudus because they know that Ghana can hurt them in a lot of ways. And so it's very interesting because both managers were playing mind games, trying as much as possible not to give too much away in terms of the presser. And so we'll see if Kudus starts or not. I remember this almost kind of sounds like Cameroon, only that this time Kudus is actually here in the flesh. In Cameroon, he was all the way in Holland, and we kept hearing every 2 seconds that his plane will be leaving for Cameroon, and it never landed. So we hope that it's not the same type of situation and that Kudus will be able to actually contribute a quota in this one.
Then just finally, I'm sure you've interacted with some fans, Ghanaian fans in Abidjan. I don't know if you've spoken to the locals, but what's the vibe you're getting from the fans ahead of tonight's encounter? It's almost make or break for the Black Stars. Lose and they are almost certainly coming home. If they win, they stay alive in the competition. What are the fans been saying?
It's funny, right? Because a lot of people feel that the Black Stars can raise their game to match Egypt in this one. A lot of the locals I've spoken to believe that Ghana has what it takes to play Egypt. I don't know if it's because they don't follow Ghanaian football as much as we Ghanaians, but they still hold us in very high esteem as far as our national team is concerned. And so those are the sentiments of the locals. When you talk to the Ghanaians, colleague journalists, some natives down here, they feel like Ghana has what it takes to beat Egypt, but they also say that the Black Stars are the kind of team that can beat Egypt and require possibly a point from Mozambique to qualify and then probably drop the ball. And so it's very interesting sentiments on the Black Stars here. But I can tell you for a fact that a lot of Ghanaians here do believe that for all the bad performances, for all the unstructured tactics, for all the lethargy we've seen from the team, this is the game that Ghana know that they cannot afford to and be lackadaisical. And so we are hoping that the Black Stars will turn up. They will up their levels as a team. They will be mentally focused and hopefully get a result in this one.
All right, but finally, you mentioned the fact that the Black Stars will have to up their level. In terms of being motivated, have you picked up anything on, let's say, former players coming to speak to them, to inspire them? Have you picked up anything on that sort, on how the players are actually gearing up for this encounter, finding, in terms of like motivation and getting themselves fired up for this game?
I don't know about former players coming in camp, but I know that Stoneboy has been in camp. It came to motivate the team, possibly say a few words into the ears of Mohamed Kudus. Maybe he brought him some magic charm to help him heal quicker. We hope that's the case because he will be influential if he does play for Ghana. But hey, I don't feel like the guys even need anybody to come out here and motivate them. They know what the atmosphere is like. Jordan said it. Jordan says that they are not here for a holiday. They are here to win games, and so they want to go out there and put it all on the line. Know that at least they gave it their all, even if they don't get the desired results. And so I think that this is a game where you need to be internally motivated because there's a lot at stake. You do not want to be that team that has been crowned African football royalty, but have somehow managed to crash out twice on the bounce in the group stage. And so they know that this will be embarrassing. They know that it will probably be the lowest of the lows if the Black Stars don't get a win and against Mozambique, we probably don't get a favorable result to get out of the group. And so the lads they want to come out there and do well. A lot of people I've spoken to have mentioned the fact that Houghton needs to put out the right starting lineups. You get the sense from a lot of my colleagues here that they don't feel that the first game had the right lineup to do what Ghana needed to do. And so we'll see what kind of lineup comes out today. But we expect a battle today, really. It's going to be that type of game.
All right, Ben, thank you so much for that. That was Citi Sports editor Benjamin Nkita in the thick of things in Abidjan, in Côte d'Ivoire. Guys, interesting thoughts there. Ben was saying that the players don't need any extra motivation. Just the situation they are in should be enough motivation for them.
Yeah. If you have a fan walking to the coach and quote unquote whispering in his ear and being dragged away, that should be motivation enough for you to see that the people have now become so angry at the team and the team has lost its love. You need to bring the love back.
Okay.
And all depends on Coach Chris Houghton today. Because I feel this game feeds beautifully into his style of play. His style of play is to sit back, soak up all the pressure, and this is the game for him to deliver that.
Okay.
Not going to experiment with 1DM, 1-8, 1-10. No. You go and play Madagascar with double pivot, and then you go and play Cape Verde with a single pivot, and you are going to play Egypt with a single pivot. It won't work. For me, I feel the Black Stars should just sit back, soak all the pressure, and then have pacey wingers. Pacey wingers, not sluggish wingers, but just pacey wingers in Nyama and then Pencil. Bukari, I have my reservations. I have big reservations about him.
Okay.
But just having these two guys on the wing, have the ball in defense, or anyone has the ball, just look for these guys as outlets to run the channel and get the crosses into Inaki to score. You can have Jordan playing them in the middle if you want him to, behind the striker if you want him to play. Aside that, you don't need Jordan on the wings because he will slow play down. And you don't need that in this game. You need to hit Egypt on the counter. That's the only way you can get a result. You can't decide to go toe-to-toe with Egypt, open up the game and play. They would humble you. Just sit back and hit them on the counter.
Yeah, do you agree?
Yes, I agree. The point is I put out a piece earlier this week, and my final conclusions, I just put it out there, like looking at the talents that we have, the team that we have. Let's say Waheed Regragui is the coach of the Black Stars. Wouldn't we be confident that we are going to win the title? We would be confident. Yeah. Let's say Aliou Cisse was the one coaching the Black Stars. Aliou Cisse, head coach of Senegal, was the one coaching the Black Stars. This group of players. Would we not be confident that we are going to win the title? We would be. And so it all boils down to Coach Chris Houghton and his decisions. And for me, looking at what happened in that first game, I wasn't impressed with what he did. The personnel in his substitutions weren't on point. The timing of his substitutions also weren't on point. Okay. Because bringing in the Dayu at a time where we were most comfortable in the game, at a time where Antoine Semenyo looked most comfortable in the game, was having some kind of joy, some level of joy down the left side and not even through the central channels. And taking him off and bringing on the Dayu, I think it wasn't needed. If you are taking off Joseph Paintel, if you are taking off Antoine Semenyo, bring on direct replacement so that they maintain the intensity down the flanks. Because it was clear that the Cape Verdeans, their fullbacks, they were tiring because they played the full 90 minutes. And if you have Joseph Paintel running at you consistently, if you have Antoine Semenyo running at you consistently, around the 70th minute, you will definitely tire. So if you are taking them off, you need to bring on direct replacements in either Osman Bukari or Enes Nyama. He brought on Enes Nyama to play as an inverted winger as a replacement for Joseph Paintel. But Chris Houghton made it easy for Cape Verde to deal with that threat because he kept Jordan Ayew on for a very long time till the 90th minute before introducing Osman Bukhari. And at that time, they had just got the winner. And it was us trying to play catch-up. So for me, I think his substitutions should be on point. The timing of his substitutions should be on point. And he just gets his personnel in the starting unit right. Don't, in terms of tactics, don't play Koneksdorfer in that creative midfield role behind the striker. It is a no-no because he's not that type of player. And it is for a guy who was on the fringes of the Black Stars. Even against Liberia in our friendly game against Nigeria, he didn't even start. It was against Namibia ahead of the AFCON that he started, and he did well. I'll give him that. He did well. But that is not enough evidence. The sample size is too small for you to entrust him with that huge responsibility in that game against Cape Verde as a starter. And it backfired. So I don't expect to see that again from Chris Hughton. I think once he touches on these 3 issues, I think it will be fine.
All right. Well, let's hear what the fans of the national team are saying. Benjamin Nketiah spoke about fans he had interacted with in Abidjan. Let's hear from fans we interacted with here in Accra on the chances of the Black Stars against Egypt in tonight's encounter.
I'm expecting best from them. I'm expecting that they do all the best and they work harder for more improvements. That's
between Ghana versus Egypt. We want Ghana to win, but if they don't win, they should draw, but not goalless draw. Maybe 1-1 or 2-2 is much better, yes, so that we score Mozambique the next.
Well, looking at the current performances that has been displayed, it's difficult to say we should be confident, but who knows? Football is about how you are able to make use of the 90 minutes that has been given to you. So until the football that we are going to play is over, we can't certainly say that we will lose. We are very confident of whatever we are going to take in this. And I think we may win. It's not certain. Once there's a probability, but we may win. That's my estimate. It will be a big blow to us if Kudus does not. Because last play that we had with the Cape Verde, we saw what transpired. And it was partially because he wasn't part. And the front line was a bit weaker because he was not there. And so if he's not, definitely he's our star man. It's going to affect the Ghana. But I only hope that he will be able to start. Even if he will not be able to complete, at least he will be able to start and then do something for us.
All right, so those were the thoughts of some fans. You know, some people say they want improvement. Some people say they want a win. My favorite one was the gentleman who said he doesn't want a goalless draw. Yeah. He wants a score draw.
Yeah. I have news for you. Just go to bed power.
Oh, yeah.
Go to bed power and drop something.
Yeah.
Nice odds.
Because they've got the best odds.
Yeah.
They pay big too. So, you know, I'm sure if you go and drop something, you can.
He has to drop something. Everything will turn out nice.
No, but
everything will turn out
prediction.
Nice.
The prediction cracks
no
me
goal
up.
less draw.
No goalless.
Yes. We
1-1,
want something. We want something to
2-2.
do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Petty bet power. So yeah. No goal less draw. Black Stars. No goal less draw.
I find it so interesting, like the precise.
He says if they don't, they should win. If they don't win, they should draw.
But
if they
no
draw,
goalless draw.
no goalless draw.
Yeah.
1-1, 2-2.
I like such an individual. He knows what he wants. He really knows what he wants. Yeah. I like such an individual. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, guys. So if I pushed you to the wall to give me your respective starting 11s, which one would you give? So now let me start with you.
Ati's game post.
Hey, you bring in Ati.
In as much as I know it won't happen, this is what I would have done.
Okay, fine. That's fair. I mean, you have the right to choose.
Ati's game post, and I'll go for a 4-back. So Salisu and then Jiku, and then it's going to be difficult, but Odoi does not seem to start this game for me because of the pacey wingers they've got in the Egyptian team. So that would mean that I'd need to bring in Mr. Susumo. He would have to play. He has a little more pace than our man, Professor. And on the left side, I'll retain Gideon Mensah. We move into the middle. We play. I want to play a double pivot. One reason, to aid the laterals. So I'll play our favorite double pivot. In as much as people don't want to see Baba Idrisu, I'll start Baba Idrisu and then add Ahmed Salis. And then in the hole in front of them, that's where I would play our man Jordan, and then pacey wingers to just sit back, soak up the pressure, and then burst out. So Ernest Dunyama and Joseph Pinto, not Osman Bukari, like I said earlier. And up front, you have Inaki, because he's going to constantly run at the defenders of Egypt. And we've seen in their previous game that they are not so good when it comes to their defending this tournament. They had one of the worst showings at right back for, I think it's Hani. Yeah, his name is Hani. He has one of the worst showings. So put Ernest Nyama on him, or put Joseph Pinto on him.
Okay.
Put these guys, let them push the laterals back, and let Inaki do the running up front. I think Ghana can get a result out of that. But if you go and open it up, hallelujah.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll stick with the system or the formation and the personnel that I picked out before the start of the tournament.
Okay.
And so, yeah, Richard Ofori in goal, played 3 at the back with Mohamed Salisu, Daniel Almate, and Alexander Jiku. Then, as the wing backs, I'll have Alidu Seidu and Gideon Mensah. Then in the middle, I'll have Ashimeru and Salis Samet. Then on the wings, I'll have I'll start with Antoine Semenyo. Then you have Joseph Paintil. And through the middle, I'll go with Iñaki Williams. Ideally, it should have been Mohamed Kudus down the right side, but I don't think he'll play.
Okay.
I don't think he'll start. So I'll go with Joseph Paintil and Antoine Semenyo with Ernest Nyama and Osman Bukari as their replacement to offer that direct threat down the wings. Because at the end of the day, Egypt, under Rui Vitória, as Mozambique showed, they are suspect to the high press, the downside of the high press, because they are suspect to the counter-attack. And if you hit them directly with the counter-attack, play vertical passes that Majid Ashimeru can with pacey wingers and wing forwards like Iñaki Williams and Joseph Pinto, yeah, you can really catch them off guard and get a goal or two.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that game rolls out. Let me read some messages again on the WhatsApp number 020-444-7033. This one says, I think Coach Christopher Houghton, or Chris Houghton, should bench Odoye and start Ali Duseidu. I also think he should start the very experienced Daniel Amate. Okay, we'll see if Amate will start. This one says, my name is Abubakar Shamsu. I'm watching you live from Giranturu. And he says, Ghana 2, Egypt 0. This one says, I'm watching your program live from Wa. I'll advise all Ghanaians to eat before tonight. I don't have trust in the Black Stars anymore. Yazid Topie Yakubu sends that. So he's advising all of us to eat early because it might not be a pleasant evening.
Yeah, and it's down to what has happened in recent years. Bar the draw, the score draw we got against Nigeria that got us to the World Cup in Qatar. Ghana has consistently failed to bring the goods when we are under pressure to deliver. Mm-hmm. So you think about Ghana against Comoros. All you needed was a draw or a win. We failed to do that. We got to the World Cup against Uruguay. All you needed was a draw or a win, and you qualified to the next stage. Ghana ended up losing. And the fact that this team is quite young, you have a lot of players playing in the AFCON for the first time, as many as 10 players, and with some in the starting lineup, the ability to deal with that pressure, that will be key in everything. And I don't think Ghana has fared too well in that department. Chris Houghton doesn't help matters. So that's why in terms of prediction, I struggle to see Ghana getting a win over Egypt.
I see.
Because we have to deliver. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're under a lot of pressure. We lost to Cape Verde, and so under a lot of pressure, we haven't fared too well. And Chris Houghton hasn't shown much for me to believe in him. And so yeah, I struggle to see Ghana beating Egypt. I think the best will be a draw.
I see. Said now quickly.
It just depends on the tactics he deploys and what he tells the players.
Okay.
Osman Bukari, like I said, would be exciting to see him back. Mm-hmm. Reports coming from his parents' club say he does not really listen to the coach's instruction. That's why I would want to just maybe see him from the bench. But depends on what he tells the players. If he tells them to go and enjoy themselves, but play to what is on paper, we'll see a lovely game. But if he plays his normal surprise things he likes to pull on us, I'm sure we'll get beat.
Okay, all right. We'll see how that game will play out. It's Ghana versus Egypt later this evening. That game is live on Citi 97.3 FM. We've got live coverage of the AFCON for you. This